Ginyumigwan digo liquemco minidominusing donjaba Bibesha Hastings dida Quandinoema Micnodem. My spirit name is Ginyumigwan, which is Golden Eagle Feather, and my English name is Liz Osawamik, and I'm originally from Wakamakong on Manitoulin Island, and I'm of the Beaver clan, related to the bear. The work that I do is I teach in a public school, elementary, starting at junior kindergarten right to grade 8. And then I also teach in the high school, teaching grade 9 to 12. And then also at Trent University, teaching Introduction to Anishinaabemowin, and also Introduction to Contemporary Indigenous Dance. Just recently, well, within the last year, I've been working in the elementary school for over 25, about over 20 years, I guess. And so I started teaching grade 1 to grade 8, and my daughter was in JK at one time, and it was there that I, took her from the SK JK class to bring her into with the grade 1s, because I wanted her to be taking the Ojibwe in the public school. So teachings grade 1 to 8 for over 20 years, and it's been, teaching the children from First Nation community and non-Native students in around the area of Keene, Ontario. And so it's been pretty good. But at the beginning, when I first started, I wasn't sure as to which children were Native children, because there were, had blonde hair, blue eyes, and it was the a young Spanish girl that I thought that was Native, and when I first started teaching. But it's come a long way, and now I have like over 60 children there that take the Native language, and so it's been pretty good, teaching the children. The sad thing is that when they leave, for when they take the language program, September to June, when they go home, for the summer, they kind of lose the language because they don't use it. So I have to introduce everything again, and then so as the years get on, they understand by the time they're in grade 8. But again, if they don't use it, they put it on the back burner. And so it wasn't until like maybe 7 years ago that they opened up the course at the high school. And so I was able to teach grades 9. So it's all together though, like one class per semester, teaching all the levels, because I only have so many students. So this year I have like 17 students, and how I teach the language, it's always they do their introductions. As long as when they finish the course, at least they'll have that, and I usually throw in the prayer as well. So they learn the prayer, and they have to memorize their introductions and their prayers. So anywhere from 15 to 20 sentences But they practice that every day, and so it's like, at least they'll have that. And I still have students that I run into that know the prayer, that know their introduction, because it's instilled in them, like, because we did it every day. And so I'm just coming to a finishing semester at the high school level, and they're still, going strong, and I'm so proud of the students there. If they can learn and retain the language, we need to really we need to focus on, keeping the language alive, because our elders are passing away, and it's like they're taking the language with them. So we really need to focus on, having the students retain the language and to use it on a daily basis, in the home, you know, um, just like every day, Ojibwe, Nishnabemwe. I had a student that, finished the course, and he went home, and he started working, it was a short-term work at the daycare, and one day he says, I'm so glad you taught us those songs. I was able to, sing to the children where I worked for, for the week. And, so having them, remember those songs, or just remember, just even the basic vocabulary, that they're able to, pass it on to the children and to other people as well. And so with other students that non-indigenous students, they I tell them that wherever you work, you're always going to come across indigenous people. And an example there would be, I had a young woman that graduated grade 8, and she went to school to become a teacher. And so today she is teaching in my community, and it's like she's teaching my nieces, great nieces and nephews. And it was like, so she was able to, it's kind of like a full circle, like, and she was a non-native woman. And so that was just letting them know that, it doesn't matter, what race you are, whatever profession you are going to get into, you'll be able to use the language, and, I recall one day, I grew up on Manitoulin Island on the reserve, and then moving to Sudbury, was a culture shock for me, and but I had a dentist that I had to go and see, and one word that he said to me was "squidgegan," and that's to spit. And I was like, he spoke to me in the language, and so it was like I just, loved going to the dentist, just because I knew that, there's someone out there that's using the language other than Nishnawik. There's, those students that, really, pick up the language like quite easily. And then there's other students that struggle, and I have, if I have them in elementary school, high school, by the time they get to university, the things that I get there is like, I wish I would have paid more attention in elementary school. And so I bring that up, a lot, and I try and, if you make things fun, like bringing, laughter into the classroom, taking them out, out of the classroom, and learning, on the land, for example. And so, they retain more that way too. And so I feel that, a good portion of, the students that I have, like, they do retain those, good times, and so I feel, there is a great success with, the language that way. To me, it would be like land-based learning as opposed, to getting a degree in, university, but or college or university, but just having that knowledge, indigenous land-based knowledge about learning off the land, I think is one way to, to be going, as opposed to just learning in the school, like learning, in an institution. I feel that, going that route, is happening more in today's world. Um, at the university, at Trent University, the courses that are offered off, um, on the land is like there isn't that many for some, like in some courses, but others, you know, um, they just cherish that, because I've attended the two language on the land courses, learning Anishinaabe, and the students there, they just rave, when I talk to them, and they're so grateful that, they've taken that course on the land. And so, going going that route, I feel that, even within the next, the 10 years, that's going to really help, you know, uh, the people, learning the medicines, learning how to rice, how to, to fish, you know, harvest, the medicines. And so I feel that it's going to, be stronger, these next 10 years. And we need to um, embrace that, so that way we can hold on to, to those, those teachings that were given to us by our ancestors, those elders that, that continue to teach us on a daily basis. And so it's good that, that we start, helping and, retaining, those gifts that were given to us by the Creator. Knowing, those knowledge keepers, especially, the language speakers, to really, acknowledge them, and to utilize those ones that are still here with us. It would be good, like I know, like finance, that would be, hard to, it's not hard, but would help, you know. And so, but just finding those knowledge keepers that would help, and, however they can help to bring in those, all those resources, and to create more, materials, especially language, because there isn't too many language materials out there like French. And so having those language keepers, um, those knowledge holders, to create more, for our children. And it is coming more and more each year. And I appreciate all those ones that are creating those, short stories and those texts for, for the children to learn. And those stories that were, told orally, and they're starting to be put into text. And it's so important to, again, to revitalize, those teachings, that were given to us. And to share them, to, to share those teachings with, so that way we can pass them on to, to our children, and just so that way it continues on. And to be, to to be grateful that that our ancestors, had those teachings, and they kept them for us, and they kept them alive. Especially culture, and because that gives us an identity as who we are as Nishnawik people.